In March 1986, less than a year after Attilio Bettega's death in Corsica, Group B's warning signs turned into something the sport could no longer treat as an isolated tragedy. The location was the Rally de Portugal, and what happened there would begin the final chapter of Group B's short, extreme history. On the Lagos Azulejo stage, Portuguese national champion Joaquim Santos was driving a Ford RS200. Cresting a rise on the stage, he found a group of spectators standing in the road ahead of him, in a position that left him little time to react safely. Attempting to avoid hitting them directly, Santos steered the car away from the group, but in doing so lost control. The RS200 left the road and went into a different section of the crowd gathered along the stage. 31 spectators were injured in the accident. 3 of them died. It was, by a significant margin, the deadliest single incident the sport of rallying had experienced up to that point, and it happened not because of a mechanical failure or driver error in the conventional sense, but because of the fundamental, long-standing gap between how fast these cars had become and how loosely spectator safety had continued to be managed along rally stages. The reaction was immediate. All of the top factory teams still competing in that Rally de Portugal withdrew from the event before it concluded, a rare and significant show of the sport's own competitors acknowledging that continuing to race under those circumstances was no longer defensible. It was one thing for manufacturers to accept risk to their own drivers, a risk those drivers had, however dangerously, consented to as professionals. It was something else entirely for spectators, ordinary fans who had simply come to watch, to pay with their lives for standing in the wrong place on a public road that had never been properly secured for cars this fast. In the aftermath, discussion within the sport's governing bodies intensified sharply, but Group B was not banned outright in the immediate wake of Portugal. The category continued, with the World Rally Championship calendar moving forward toward its next events, even as pressure mounted from multiple directions, safety officials, journalists, and increasingly, some voices from within the teams and manufacturers themselves, questioning whether the sport could continue operating this way much longer. Nobody competing in Group B in the spring of 1986 knew it yet, but the Portugal accident would not stand alone as the year's defining tragedy. Within just a few months, on a mountain road in Corsica, an accident far closer to the heart of the sport itself, involving one of its most respected teams and drivers, would finally force the reckoning that Portugal alone had not been enough to trigger.